Hello, hello, fellow citizens of the world. Jordan Patrick here, bringing you the very first episode of EXPATito podcast. Because this is the first episode, it's in the experimental stage, and you'll hear that when I talk about the podcast name right off the bat. I believe this interview went really smoothly as a trial run, and I give big thanks to Marcos for agreeing to be my guinea pig, if you will, for this experimental episode. He's a great guy from the Dominican Republic, and I was really curious to know more about his country and upbringing. We met recently in Madrid through friends of ours, and we hit it off pretty well, and we decided to meet up in France, in Toulouse, because he had never been there before, and it's pretty close to where I'm living in Limoges currently. So it made it a pretty fun weekend getaway trip, and we visited the city for a short weekend, and I will be editing a video of this trip in a couple weeks. And that way you'll be able to kind of put faces to voices, and that you'll be able to find on my YouTube channel, EXPATito. So without further ado, let's jump into the interview. What's up, everybody? It's Jordan Patrick here, aka EXPATito, and I am debuting this name, but I'm here with my friend Marcos.
Hi.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Marcos. I'm from the Dominican Republic. I met Jordan in New Year's Eve in Madrid, and here we are in Toulouse like a month and a half later, so we'll see how things go now.
Yeah, okay, so I was telling him earlier that I decided to call my little podcast EXPATito because I'm an expat, and I thought like adding the little ito was cute. But I learned that in Spanish, what does that mean?
Ex-dog, actually. And he was like, okay, if you think it's cool.
I did not believe him, so I looked it up on Google, and it indeed means former duckling. So I'm like, well, I mean, that could mean that now I'm a swan and I'm branching out, evolving from a duck to a bigger bird. Anyways, so that was my little like, okay, I might need to change this name, but I'm gonna stick to it now because I still think it's funny. I still think it's nice.
Cool.
Okay, so the point of this podcast is to get to know cultures from around the world. So what I plan to do is interview friends of mine and colleagues and people from different parts of the world and just get to know them on a more personal level. And for those of you who don't know someone from the Dominican Republic, for example, this can be a way for you to get to know this part of the world and different culture, parts of the culture that you didn't know before. So that is what the point of this podcast is going to be, is diving into people's lives, where they come from, and get to know them a little bit better. So what I would like to do with each person that I have on this show is to give them a chance, before I start asking any in-depth questions of your background or where you're from, about your family, politics, all this kind of stuff, I would like to know kind of like a synopsis of your life, a life story, if you will. And so in this part, I want you to just like tell me your life summary in as many details as possible, but you are limited on time. So pick the things that are most meaningful and important, some hobbies as well, like just anything that you want to share with the audience. So I am going to set a timer here and go.
Hello, so my name is Marcos Oliver de Massimo. My father, he's actually from Spain, Mallorca, from Balearic Island. And my mother, she's Dominican, but her dad, which is my grandfather, he's from Italy. So I'm most European than Dominican, I will say. I'm the middle one of my three brothers. And I moved to Spain in 2016, so I've been almost 4 years there. I'm about to finish my degree in advertising and public relations. I'm a huge Madonna fan. I love her. She's the best of all. And I also I'm a huge fan of water sports. I practice them, like almost all of them. My favorite one is kite surfing, but I have done windsurf, surf, and swimming. But I'm a fan of kite surfing. And I moved to Spain because I wanted to be like kind of a cultural thing related. Because if it was a thing that I went every summer and saw every summer with me.
Okay. Well, that was really good. You got
Better?
Yeah, you got a lot of good stuff in there. There's so many more things that I would like to get to know about you and your background. So, the first question I'm going to ask is, what was the name of the city that you grew up in?
Oh, I was born like in the capital of the Dominican Republic, which is Santo Domingo. I was born there and raised there. But actually, I tell people that I'm from the town of the family from my mother that is called Moca because I think it's kind of weird that you are born in a city where you have like so many beautiful towns, and that's why I say I'm from Moca, not from the Dominican Republic, not from Santo Domingo.
And actually, I have like okay, for some of you who are not great at geography, I admit that I wasn't sure exactly where Dominican Republic was. So I did look it up, and I saw that it's an island in Central America, and that it is bordering
Haiti.
Hey,
Yeah,
Haiti.
it's called Haiti.
And okay, back in, I'm not sure exactly when this was, but when you had the
It was an earthquake that hit up Haiti.
earthquake. Okay,
Yeah, and it
see,
destroyed it destroyed Haiti, and it was in 2010, I guess. And they're like trying like to still rebuild themselves, but it's like a poor city, so they're still working on it.
and did that affect Dominican Republic, this earthquake, or
Well, we actually felt it, but it wasn't like damaging as much as in Haiti. So actually, it didn't do anything to us, but
like it didn't cause any
it didn't got
damage
any
or?
damage at all. Well, I guess some damage, but not as much as Haiti. And I guess like if it will have damage as much as Haiti, we'll be still recovering because people think that the Dominican Republic is a rich country, but it's not. So it's richer than Haiti, obviously.
Mhm.
But I think we'll be still recovering because there's like too slow doing things by public things.
Are you a person in your family to leave
To study
your home
abroad?
country? Yeah, to go
Like no,
abroad
in my
or?
house, well, in my house, like I don't know, like, I would say like it's a norm or something like that, but I don't think it's a norm. But we went to an American school that is what's called that is called New Horizon Bilingual School. The three of us, I'm the middle of my brothers, and I think it was like kind of the pressure of the school and kind of the influence of my family that once we get out of the school, we have like to study abroad. And actually, my parents wanted me to go to the States, but I didn't want to go. So I fight against them, but I say like I want to go to Europe, I want to go to Spain. That's a culture I know, and I ended up where I wanted to because at the end of the day, it was going to be my life. So I want to learn from my decisions.
Was it just after high school, or like at what age did you move to Madrid?
I moved to Madrid just after high school when I was 17 years old. I like packed one bag, like I made everything fit in one bag and one carry-on, and I moved. And actually, when I went to Madrid, I didn't know anyone. I was living with the best friend, well, with one of the best friend of my father, I guess. Well, or she was a close friend to him, and I lived with her like 3 months while I got like adapted to the new country. And then after living with her, I arrived to Madrid in September, and I moved out from her house in December. And then I said to myself, okay, now I gotta go to a new place. So actually, I ended up living alone. And people think that it will be like a bad thing, like moving into a city where you don't know anyone and living alone. I think actually that was like the best decision I ever made in my life because it helped me grow like as an individual, like have my own responsibility. Got like I have to go to home because I have to clean and all that stuff. And I guess actually because of that, I ended up like being more social to people because I wanted to make more friends. And by at the end of the day, I knew that I was going alone to be alone in my house, so I was like always trying to have people over, like I don't know, not to feel alone.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that feeling of kind of being on your own and being independent for the first time. I'm really proud of myself for being able to move away from what I was used to at 23. But for me now, that sounds really young. And so then to think like, holy shit, you came as a 17-year-old over here to a not only like a new country, but a new culture and continent, seas away from where you grew up and away from your family and stuff. So mad kudos because wow, that's ballsy for sure. Okay, so tell me a little bit about some of the things in the Dominican Republic that really stand out as a cultural thing about this country. Things like, okay, what is a typical meal dish that you find there everywhere for on the menu, for example, that you wouldn't find in Spain or you wouldn't find elsewhere in the world?
Yeah, like so there are like two things like Dominican love when eating. One of them is like the breakfast. They well in my house they actually do it every day because we I love it. And it's called mango. And this is like kind of a smashed potato, but instead of potatoes by with these green bananas. So it's like a salty dish is made always for breakfast, and when they do it like with onions on top of it, and then you have like scrambled eggs or normal eggs, or like depending on the day, like what you wanted. So they do it like every morning, which is I love it. Then also like they also eat every day. Like when I say like every day, like the people from there, if they don't eat that, is because they have like external influence. But every day they eat rice and beans. They eat it with every kind of meat. So, but the main dish is like rice and beans and some and meat. And this is like called this dish is called La Bandera Dominicana, like the Dominican flag. And I think that is like the best thing we have from there, like rice and beans. I love it. Like it's one of the things that I miss the most. And actually, I have tried to make it like at Spain, but it doesn't taste the same. I don't know
The
why.
beans, perhaps.
I don't know why, but it doesn't taste the same. Like I try, I do like it's time. I I like there we had like this lady that helped us like all my life. And when I moved out, I went back to this on summer like to the Dominican Republic, and I asked her like, dude, I need to learn how to make beans because I miss it like a lot. And she told me, okay, you have to do this, and this. And actually, I write everything down like in a note. And when I went to my house back to Spain and tried to do it, it was like, oh my God, I don't know why the fuck I did wrong, but it didn't work. And 3 years later, I've tried it to do it and it still doesn't work. And then I will say like another thing like it's important like characterizes like every Dominican is that no matter what they will always smile. Like that's amazing. Like you can have a shitty day, but you will always smile to another one. You can have like your grandmother has is kind of sick and she will smile to you. So that's like they're always happy even though they have like a bad day or feeling bad. And then also like the big festival or thing that they have is once a year that is called the Carnival, like all over the world. Like it goes like in February, something like that. And they, it's like boom, it's like a boom there because every town has like their own carnival. Then they're like all dancing, partying, and it's amazing. And another thing that
When
also,
when is that?
I think it's now that in February, like I think during the whole February things happening. I guess I'm not
Okay.
sure about it.
I mean, does it change? Like each year you have to check to see exactly when it
No,
starts.
I think it
It's
goes
always the
like for a
same time.
complete month. I
Ah,
don't I
okay.
don't recall it now exactly, but it's like a boom. And I think like the last thing that characterizes a Dominican is that they're always drinking. Yeah, we have they have like I don't know like people say they're alcoholic, but it's I don't think they're alcoholic. I think like they enjoy drinking, and it can be like 11 a.m. and they have a beer in their hand, or they have a glass of rum in their hand. So all day, all night drinking. So I guess like when we move abroad and we're like drinking, there's like okay, this is nothing, so we don't get drunk that easy.
Hmm. What is there like a typical drink that comes from Dominican Republic, for example? Like, okay, Jack Daniels is American, for example,
Yeah.
or like Ricard is French. It's from Marseille. Is there any particular alcohol that comes
Yeah, we
from?
have like our main beer is called Cerveza Presidente. So it's like the beer from the Dominican Republic, which is amazing. And then we are famous because of the rum. We have like Bartelo rum and Brugal rum, which is
Mhm.
delicious because they do it like directly there from the Dominican Republic. And then we also have like this thing that is called Mama Juana, that
Mhm.
is like kind of rum with herbs. So it's like a sweet thing. We actually like gets you like really drunk because it's so sweet that you don't feel the
Mm.
alcohol in it.
Mhm. It like
So
masks the alcohol
yeah,
taste.
like it smashes it out like all of it. So you can drink like a lot of it, and then you will be like drunk as hell because the herbs is like so sweet and it tastes so good that you don't feel like the alcohol that you actually are drinking.
Hmm. I think like in the Central American area, I don't know what it is about the I don't know if it's in the soil or whatnot, or just like the sugar cane. I don't know if you have so
Yeah,
many plantations for
yeah,
that,
like the country,
because
like
I've seen in a lot of these rum and a lot of these different rum companies how they have like pictures of sugar canes on their bottles and everything, and so I assume that it has something to do with the climate. Um, how is the climate in the Dominican Republic? I
oh my
kind of know
God.
the answer, but
The
for
climate is like the best climate all over the world because it's never nor cold nor hot. We have like the same climate all over the year. So we have like an average between 25 degrees Celsius to maximum 33 degrees Celsius at summer. So, but actually, like if you go like to some places inside the country, it's actually get cold. So for instance, Constanza is like a town there, and it's like really cold for us because it's like also a humid country, and the temperature there is like 15 degrees Celsius. So if you go there, you need to wear a jacket for us. But like the weather all year, no matter what, it will be warm. And the good thing about also the Dominican Republic, the weather of it is like if it's raining, like it can rain as hell, like the sky you think that is falling down, 30 minutes later, the sun will be out and you can enjoy the city like a normal day. But if there's a hurricane, of course not. But in a normal day, you can see like, okay, this is a beautiful day, but suddenly it will start raining as hell. And then the sun will be out as hell again. And that's makes the country itself.
I'm not sure if you've been to Florida before, but I assume that it's similar. Well, similar climate because what you're saying with heavy rainfalls and then clear skies. I've been to Florida in summertime multiple years in a row, and it would be like super heavy rainfall and thunder, lightning, and then it's like 20 minutes later, sunny skies, and it's all dried up because it's so warm and super humid. And so it sounds, I don't know if you've been to Florida.
Yeah, I've been there like when I was little, and yeah, it's kind of the same thing. The only thing that will be different, I guess, is like in Florida during winter it's kind of colder. Like it can reach like 21 degrees
He's
Celsius.
got like parentheses
Yeah.
fingers, like saying
So I
colder.
I think it could be like colder, but besides that, it's kind of the same weather because for us in winter is like our winter season is 25 degrees Celsius like an average, but then you can also have like during the day 30 degrees Celsius like a normal day. In Florida it will be like kind of colder.
Do you
So
have like a rainier season
yeah,
of the
we have
year?
like we call it like the hurricane season. So it usually goes like from I think from mid-July to mid-October, November. So during that season time is like where hurricanes are like more presence, but it's like depends on the climate and the earth what it want to do with the country.
Okay. So if you were to recommend someone to go, what time of the year would you say like, oh, it's the best at this time?
I love
If you could choose, I mean.
like my favorite season for me when I used to live there, I guess it was spring break because I didn't have to do anything, like not to go to school. But like the best time to go will be like February, March, I guess, because it's not that hot, but it's not like cold. Well, it's never cold, but it's like there's not like this amount of touristic people there. You can be like chilling out, but please never go to Punta Cana. Like try to avoid it because when people tell me, "Oh, I have been to a country, it's amazing," and I ask them like, "Where have you been to?" And they say like to Punta Cana. I'm like, okay, that's another thing.
What is that?
Like Punta Cana is like the most touristic part of the country where are the all like these hotels, like all included hotels, and you don't end up like living the hotel. Like if you live the hotel, it's like to go to these like three main attractions that the country has, and you actually don't get to know the
You're not
country at
really
all.
integrated in
You
the
don't know. You're
society.
like in this like kind of mini paradise, and you don't know how to see like the other part of the country where are that actually are like more beautiful and things like to show. They I think like you don't like get to know the people. Like if you're in the hotel, you
Yeah.
don't see like the culture. You only see what you want to see. Like
You're surrounded by other tourists.
you're surrounded by other
Therefore, you're
tourists. Like the people that
meeting.
work there will have to give like a always like a good impression of themselves. And if you go like outside the hotel, you actually see like how people live there, how the country is like not in the touristic places. Because for me, like I prefer like other places rather than Punta Cana.
Is the country religious, like super religious, or is it, more free to believe, a variety of different religions if you do practice religion, or is it kind of, I mean, tell me about religion in
Like the
Dominican.
Dominican Republic, we were conquered, as you might know, by Spain, and we actually have like this Catholic religious thing, and it's actually a big thing. Like, but I will say that is like part of all Latin America in general, that they are very religious. So the main religion there is like Catholicism, and people like follow it. They go every day to church. Sunday is like the perfect like a family thing to go to church, then to go eat with the family. So I guess like yeah, the country is like very religious.
And if someone were to be atheist, like would they be like
Now
would they
I
judge you?
Nowadays, I don't think so because people are like now they mind on their own business.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say like 20 years ago or 30 years ago, if you're like well, they, I guess that they will tell you things. But actually, like I think nowadays they don't
They
say
don't
anything.
care.
They don't care about it.
Okay, and what about holidays?
So my top holidays for me are like Christmas. Not because of the present. I love the present. Like I love to wake up and see like the tree full of presents. But in the Dominican Republic, like the 24th of December is like a thing for being for the family. So it was this time of the year where the entire family got together, no matter where we were, from the town that we were living. We actually got together into my grandma's house, and we were all together there. And it was like the best time of the year because I got to see everyone, got to give them a hug, and yeah, I think like Christmas is my favorite thing.
And do you guys have like a national holiday that like in the States we have 4th of July, which celebrates independence?
Yeah, we have like the Constitution Day. We also, I don't remember the dates because I'm horrible with dates, but we have the Constitution Day, the Independence Day, and we have like this Virgin Day that is Virgen de la Altagracia. So, and also we have carnivals and Holy Week, like spring break for us is like sacred because they're really very religious. So between during that week, like if you go there and try to buy things from I don't know Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, everything will be closed because the entire country closes down, kind of.
So you guys don't have like one day that kind of like outweighs the other when it comes to like,
I will say
oh, we're gonna
Constitution.
celebrate our country today.
Yeah, I will say Constitution Day and the
But
Independence Day.
you're not sure when it is?
No, I'm lost. Like,
Because I mean, I think
when is it?
everyone in the US is gonna know like 4th of July.
Yeah, I'm like, no, now I'm lost. Yeah, I have to check it up. And actually, like a day for us, like it's like really boom, is in October the 12th. That is kind of the Hispanic Day when Columbus discovered like America.
Okay.
So, but then like for us, it's more important our Independence Day,
Hmm.
which I guess it was February 27, if I'm not bad. I have to
Okay.
check.
Okay. We'll fact check that. Do you have any like childhood memories that really just stick out?
My childhood was amazing because I was always at the beach, but I remember like this Christmas, like New Year's Eve vacations we made like once with like the family, well, with the friends of my father parents. We went to the north of the island that is called like this area is called Samana. And we went there with my actually I call them my cousins because I when I grew up they were always there with me and we shared everything. And we rented like different houses and there was like this huge tree like in the middle of all houses. And the kids we went to climb the house the tree, we went to the top and I remember that I went with one of my cousins that is also called Marco and we went to the top of it and we actually fell down like I don't know how we are even alive, but we were falling down like in the movies, like hitting all with all the tree branches, and we hit it like the last one, but which was the thicker one, and where all my other cousins were playing, and I think because of the impact and the amount of people that was in that branch, we actually fell down, all of us, because we broke it, and then I got another memory that during that same trip was that I was riding horses with my cousin, and I don't know how. We say that another horse was in love with one of the horses or something like that. But we were actually in the middle of a horse fight, and we had like to get on top of our horses and jump like in the movies, like to move away from the horses because we were actually on top of them. And I have that really present in my mind, like I was in the middle of a horse fight, like literally like in the movies, and I like to jump like Indiana Jones there. It was like
I don't even think that I've ever ridden a horse before.
no, we actually I ridden like every time I went to the beach, we used to ride horses.
I can just like imagine. For me, when I think of that image, like I think of in those picture frames that you see at Walmart or Target or just at the store that have like pictures already in the frames and
Yeah.
you buy them. Like I just imagine just like people on horses on the beach. Like those are those pre in the already packaged things. Okay, so you've now been living in Spain for the last 4 years. How much longer, if forever, do you plan to live in Spain?
So eventually, I would like to go back to my country because I love living there. I don't know if because it is what I'm used to see, but I love my country. And in Spain, like now, I'm about to finish my degree, and I would like to stay there like for 10, maximum 20, from 10 to 20 years there. But I prefer like if I have a kid, I prefer to raise it back in the Dominican Republic because I was raised there, and I guess like it's childhood. I wanted to be like kind of free like being like in contact with nature. And I guess if I do it like in Madrid, it will be like in a huge city.
Yeah,
It will be
metropolitan.
some metropolitan, and he won't like be like such in contact with nature
Okay, so I mean, I get what I take out of that is that you really, really enjoyed and appreciated your childhood, so you would want the same
for my
for
kid.
your children.
So if I don't have a kid, I don't know when I will be
I
leaving
mean, 10 to
Madrid.
20 years is quite a long time to kind of see yourself staying in the same place for the time being. I mean, that's very far in the future. Um, I have a hard time even knowing we'll be 1 year from now. So to think so far in advance, that shows that you do really love living in Spain. And yeah, if you see yourself there until the day, if you do have kids eventually, then you must really appreciate your life in Europe now. What are some of the biggest differences that you've noticed between? I know that there's going to be so many, but what are like the top three culture shocks maybe that you had coming to Spain, or just three of the biggest cultural differences between the Dominican Republic and Spain?
So I will say the thing that shocked me the most when I moved to Spain was the fact that couldn't take the car to go everywhere, so I had actually to walk to places. And 4 years later, I'm still getting used to walk things. Like I don't like to walk at all. I hate it because I'm used like to drive to everywhere. So I guess that's the thing that was like the worst of all for me. Then the other thing I think it will actually impact me is like I had to do everything. Well, in Spain, you have to do everything by yourself because like getting help is so expensive, and that actually like still like impacts me, and I'm getting used to it little by little. And the third thing I will say that also shocked me when I moved, well, yeah, you know that in the Dominican Republic we actually speak Spanish, but I don't know how, but I think we have like another type of Spanish because people like when I moved there, like they told me like they don't understand me, and when I talk like to other Dominican people, they say like, "Oh my God, you talk very different like when you're like surrounded by Spanish people." So kind of the language is was like kind of different because of the words that we use, how we talk, and that things. And the last thing, the fourth thing, I know you say only three of them, but the last
Oh,
thing
keep going, as many
that
as
also like
you
impressed me a
want.
lot was the fact that people were always like eating outside like with friends that they are I say that they are familiar but they're not so familiar as the way that I'm used to be. I don't know why, but it gave me the impression that okay, they love I love my family, but I want to go out be with my friends. And I don't know, it gave me that impression, I guess, because most of the people that I'm surrounded with are in the same situation as me, that we always like we move like from outside of our hometown to a new city, so we actually like build like a new family with our friends.
Yeah, I mean, I have the same thing in France because most like the best group of friends that I have in Paris, we're all from different parts of the world, and we've kind of latched onto each other, and we call each other family because that's all we have in France. And so especially when holidays come around and stuff, we always make it a point to be together because we don't have families nearby to go home to see. So um, yeah, I totally get that communal sense that you have being a foreigner moving to a new place. And to wrap things up today, do you have any advice for any peers of yours back in the Dominican Republic, if they have the dream to move abroad or to start a new life somewhere outside of their comfort zone? What advice would you give them?
Never give up. Like I at the beginning it will be like hard as fuck. Like you will die and when you want to go back home, where you have like your mom to hug you when you go back home and say like everything's gonna be okay. But actually, the first year will be like horrible. Believe me, will be like a pain in the ass. You will be depressed kind of in a way, and you will do everything. You will find any excuse to go back home, but don't go because when that year passes, I can assure you that you will find friends, I will say, or people that will actually kind of be like your family and will help you like through everything go by, and you will get used to it. And then it will happen the same thing as me, that 4 years later you say, okay, I actually was going to go back, but thanks God I didn't, because now I don't want to go back.
So I mean, it's always tough, like right at the beginning, and it's going to happen. Like in the first month, you'll be homesick at some points, but once you get over like that initial feeling of being homesick, is when you really like let down your guard and really like open yourself up to the idea that okay, this is where I'm at, this is the culture that I'm integrating in, and these are the people that I'm surrounded by in this new culture. And like you kind of form your family, not necessarily but well, thank you so much for joining me on this new project. So
Welcome.
I wish you the best, and maybe in a future episode we'll have you featured in another episode. I should be back in Madrid in May and July this year, so we will
See each other, of
see each other
course.
again. That was a great episode for a first timer. I think it went really well. I hope that you're able to learn new things about the Dominican Republic. Thanks to Marcos, he really went into depth about how it was growing up there and some of the differences that he's had to adapt to in moving to Spain. This has been Jordan Patrick, the EXPATito. See you next time.